Hello, everyone. Welcome today to this new session on Automate Remittance Posting to boost your revenues. Thank you for taking your time to be here with us for this webinar. So, as you all know, remittance posting is the key to providing financial oversight on a lot of things like on patient balances, on denials, and also in identifying internal issues and taking actions to resolve these quickly and efficiently. So we hope that the topics presented today will be very informational and valuable for all of you. As always, today's presenter is Julia Young, our subject matter expert. And Julia will discuss in this webinar, she will walk all of you through how to successfully post a remit from the scratch till the end, and the benefits it has, benefits of the remittance posting screen. So a few housekeeping items before we begin. We will have a question and answer session at the end. So please post in your questions in the question box and send it to us. We will answer them in order. And I was also will be providing the slides and the videos to you after the recording and after the webinar. That will be over to you shortly. So let's begin the webinar. Julia, it's over to you now.
Thank you and welcome everybody. Today we're going to talk about posting a remittance in prognosis. Okay, so the first screen that I want to talk about is how to get to the remittances. So if you go up to the remittance tab at the top, you have two choices. If you're going to post a remit, you can go to EOB, ERA, or you can go to unallocated option. If you go to EOB ERA, it's going to show you a screen that looks like this, where you're going to see every remit that has ever been generated and put into your system. Now, this could be electronic remit or a paper EOB. As you can see, I have 5 pages here. If the E is there, that means it's been entered and you need to post it. If the P is there, it's already been posted. You also, from this screen, you have the option to add a new remit from scratch. So we're going to talk about that in a minute. The other thing that I wanted to show you is the unallocated screen. So if you choose the option to go to unallocated, it's going to show you all your remits that have not been posted. So these remits are already in the system, either through electronic process, paper entry, been posted yet. To get to that actual remit, you'll just click on the hyperlink right here, and it'll take you to the remittance screen so that you can post. Now, from this screen, you do not have the option to add a new remit. So that's the differences. Okay, when you get to the remittance screen, you're going to have a screen that looks like this. If you're doing electronic remittance advices, they're automatically going to come in here. You're not going to have to do any of the top portion. All of this would be auto-populated for you. And the bottom portion here, all the money would be automatically allocated for you. All you would have to do is verify that it was correct and hit the post button over here, and it would automatically post for you. But if you're having to add them from a paper EOB, we're going to walk through that process. Up here where it says payer, you're going to click on the black binoculars, and it's going to give you a list of all the insurance payers. You're going to look for your insurance company, select that insurance company, it will come in here. And now you're going to move over to the next section right here where it says check. If it's electronic funds transfer, it's automatically going to show as an electronic funds transfer, and you're not going to have this button here enabled. If you choose, you're entering a paper check, you could choose the check option or the credit card option. If you choose the check option and you hit this little elliptical button, you're going to get a pop-up screen that looks like this screen down here on the left, on the bottom left, where you can enter your check number, the check date, and the bank that your payment came in on. If you fill out this box here, it will automatically put in the check date here and the check number here for you, so you don't have to go back and do that. If you choose the credit card option, then the right box over here where you can add the last 4 digits of the credit card number, the card holder's name, and the credit card type. Excuse me. Now, if you I had just mentioned that if you choose the 3 little dots, it does put in the check number, the check date, or the check number and the check date. Now, if you notice, there are 3 different check fields here. There's a check date, a remittance date, and a post date. The check date could be the date on the check, or a lot of people like to put in the date that it was hit the bank account. So if you're one of those who want to track the date that it hit the bank account, you can put it in the check date. The remittance date is the actual date on the remit. So if you had to call back to the insurance company, you wanted to know what remit date that was and the check amount, then you would have the correct date here. And then the post date is the post date that you're posting it into the system and processing that. The next section over here is your actual payment amount. Now the check amount, you should always put the full check amount. Even if you have some payments that belong to Prognosis and some payments that belong to another system, you'll still put the total of all the payments, the whole check amount, in that check amount field. Okay, that's the reason for that. You're having to call the insurance company and you've only put half the check amount in there. They're not going to match up, and they're not going to know which check you're talking about. So if you put the full check amount in here, then they will know when you call the insurance company which check it was, because you'll have the remittance date and then you'll have the full check amount. Now, the portion that does not belong to Prognosis, if it's coming in electronically, this will automatically happen for you. It saves you a lot of time if I have an electronic remittance, and it saves you from having a lot of errors as well. But right here where it says allocated amount, you'll click on this hyperlink, and the part that does not belong to Prognosis will go under the non-Prognosis payment amount right here. Now, if they're taking back money or recouping money from your check from a payment that was posted in your old system, that's where your non-Prognosis recoup will be. Once you've entered the amount into these 2 fields and say OK, it changes the remaining amount that you have to post for your check. So the remaining amount was going to be the total amount that you need to post in Prognosis. Okay. The middle section here is going to give you the remittance number, which is automatically generated by the system. If you click the hyperlink of that remittance number, it tells you all the charges that were on that remit. That shows that everything that's covered. The remittance date, again, we talked about that. That's going to be the date on the actual EOB. The batch number, if you're doing batches, you can select your batch number from here or create a new batch number using the plus button. Now we have a little bit of icons right here. This first icon is if you are doing a paper EOB and you want to attach it back into Prognosis so that you have it handy anytime. You can go ahead and scan it and use the attach button and select that file. Then under the magnifying glass, you can preview that attachment. Okay, so if you ever needed to attach it, you could do that. Now, the download button will download the electronic remit for you. So if you're sending out a copy of the EOB to the secondary payer, when you do it from the electronic remit, it's only going to print the patient that you're highlighting. So if you're on a particular patient, you hit the download button, it will give you the check date and amount and all of that, but then it's only going to give you the patient that you've highlighted. Okay, so that keeps you from having to scratch out a bunch of people. If you're downloading the preview that you added, it's going to give you the actual preview that you added. If you do the notes tab, this is if you need to make any specific notes about this remit right here. You can add them into the Remotes tab. And then this little open jagged claim screen is called Open Vouchers. So it's going to show you any remittance advices that are added in the system that have been reopened. So this one here is a status of reopened. The status button here is going to tell you the status of your remit that you're currently working on. So this one here has been entered and then it was reopened. So it was posted and then reopened. The next thing is we need to select our claims. So we're going to go to this middle section here with the row of icons. And we're going to go to this first black binocular right here. And we're going to hit the black binocular so that we can search for everybody that's on that claim. So when you first open it up, it looks like the screen down here below. You have primary, secondary, and tertiary buttons up here at the top. Let's see if I can control my mouse here. Primary, secondary, and tertiary. So depending on the type of claim that you're looking for, you may have to go to the secondary or tertiary button to find it. The starting with is, if you check that, it's going to let you search by patient name and start typing in letters, and it'll bring you up those people with just those letters. The way I prefer is looking it up by claim number because it's very quickly. You can look it up at any one of these fields across the top here. Also, you have two buttons here: include a zero amount or shown voided claims. So sometimes you may have a voided claim and then you send it out and then you realize, oh, this is a mistake. I voided that claim. I created a new claim and resent. They may pay on that voided claim. So that's when you're going to click this right here and pull up the voided claims, post against that voided claim, and then you could refund or recoup against the voided claim. And then here, we're going to have include zero amounts. So this could be a couple of different scenarios. Let's say that you wrote off the claim for whatever reason. So now it's zeroed out. And then they came back and they made a payment. Maybe they told you, the patient didn't have coverage during this period, and then they realized that they did and went ahead and paid it, but you wrote it off or something. Then you might want to go to the include zero amounts. Or if they paid it and then they came back and made an additional payment or something like that, you might also, in that case, find it under the zero amounts because the claim has already been processed and zeroed out. So it wouldn't show up in the list of claims that owed money. Okay, so you may check those two and then you could still post against it. Okay, so once you have selected your claims, you're going to get this bottom section of the screen and you're going to populate how much they allowed, paid, etc. Now, if you have the electronic remittance posting, this is going to automatically populate for you and you're not going to have to do this section. So that's two sections you won't have to do if you're doing electronic remittance posting. But if you're posting it manually, let me tell you about all these icons right here. We are going to cover at the end, so don't think that I'm skipping them. I'll cover them all at the end, and also just preview and look up. Okay, so when you get your remittance, you're going to first enter. Let me go to the next screen here. I'm going to tell you every screen. So this first column here is your charge code. The next column is any modifiers that you might have. The next column is how much you're actually billing. Okay. The contract amount is how much that insurance company should be paying you for that particular service or allowing for that particular service. Then I would probably skip over the adjusted amount and go straight to the allowed amount. And the reason why I say that is because if you have a remit and you put in the allowed amount, it will auto adjust to the adjustment amount to bring you from the billed amount to the allowed amount. That auto adjustment would automatically take place if you put in the allowed amount first, okay? And that will save you a step. And then you don't have to calculate it either. Just put in what they allowed, and then this would be automatically calculated. Under the paid amount is how much they actually paid you for that service. And then you have 4 more columns. You have coinsurance, copay, deductible, or non-covered amount. So you would put the appropriate values into those fields right there, so that when you get over to the balance, you want that line balance to be 0. If you have any remaining amount in that line balance and you don't write it off, it will not let you post this line, okay? It wants to make sure that you have accounted for every penny on that particular line, okay? Now, if we go over here, we have excess amount, write-off, status, patient bill, and current balance, current responsibility, and delete. So this is on the same line now, just further down. So the excess amount, the EX button, is where you're going to put anything they paid in addition to what you billed. So let's say that you billed $50. The line will only let you post up to the amount of $50. It will not let you post $51.60 or something like that. So maybe that $1.60 was an interest payment. So you're going to take your $1.60 and you're going to put it in the excess amount, because that's in addition to the amount that you billed. Okay, so you would do that, put a $1.60 here, and then the reason you would drop this down and find interest payment and add it in there. Now this reason list here is customizable, so you can go to groups and group types under settings and configuration, and you can create your excess reasons. Okay. If you have a duplicate payment, that payment came in, you've already posted it, and now they sent you another payment for the same charge, it will not let you post it on that charge line because you've already posted up to that allowed amount. So you would have to put that excess amount in here, and then you would put it as a duplicate payment. The next little icon here is a write-off amount. So if you're writing off anything in the coinsurance, copay, deductible, non-covered, or balance, you have to have a dollar amount in that field, in that box on that line, and then it becomes enabled to where you can drop this down and write off any one of these fields. Now, with this particular write-off section, it's going to write off the entire balance in that box. So if you want to write off, maybe they had a co-insurance of $100 and you wanted to give them a discount of $50 and still charge them $50, you do not want to write it off from here, because this is going to write off the entire balance amount. You're going to want to do that one under the write-off section of the system, okay? Now here where it says status and action, there's 2 possible choices for this section here, is approved and denied, okay? When you have a good payment that automatically posts, it's automatically going to say approved, and it's automatically going to default to normal payment, okay? If the company had underpaid you and they're sending you an additional amount, it will not let you keep it as a normal payment. You'll have to mark it as an additional payment, and then you'll be able to post it. Also, if they sent you the payment twice, you would mark it as a duplicate payment here, and then you would be able to post it. Or if you wanted to put this particular claim on hold, you can mark on hold, okay? Then right here, you have disputed. So if they did not live up to the contract responsibility, and you wanted to retain responsibility instead of moving it to the next payer, you could mark it as retain responsibility and disputed, put in the reason why you're disputing it, and say okay, and then that will allow you to keep the money with the primary insurance, and then this claim will show up under your AR follow-up under your disputed claims for you to work. So you'll be able to track it there. You see all your disputed claims. But this is if you wanted to keep the money instead of moving to the next responsibility. You'll still post what you received, but then you want to dispute the balance because they didn't pay you enough money. So you could retain responsibility, mark it as disputed so it shows up in your AR follow-up disputed area, and then you can go ahead and dispute that balance. The other option is if it's denied. Now, if it's denied, you're going to get this pop-up here. If you have the electronic remittance posting, it is automatically going to give you a denial reason right here. If you're posting it as a paper check, you want to use this these little magnifying glass and look up your denial reasons. If you click that button, it's going to give you not only the description of the reason, or it'll also give you that denial code. So a quick way to look that up is using that denial code. And then if you're going to appeal that, you can come up here and choose an appeal reason. Okay. You have to give it an action. If it's a denied claim, it has to have an action. Now that action could be no action. So that is the first option. You could write off the balance. You could charge the next responsibility. You could rebuild a claim, creating a new claim. You could reopen the claim to resend, and you could reopen it. From here, it does not detach the remit from it. If you open it, go to the claim screen and try to reopen it, it detaches the remit from that claim. So if you're going to reopen the claim to make a correction, I recommend doing it from here so it does not detach the remit, and then you can still resend your claim. Resend without reopening, insurance agreement paid, resolved, or work in progress. Now, if you have a lot of claims denied for the same reason, not claims, but charge codes in that particular claim for that patient, you can check this box here to give all of those charge lines the same denial reason and the same setup. So you don't have to go to every single charge line to mark it that way. You can just hit this box and it will mark all the other denied charge lines with the same reason that you have here. The next section here is the notepad. And in this notepad, it's going to show you any denial reasons. So if you had an electronic remit come over, it will automatically have that denial reason in that electronic remit under that notepad. This box here, if it's checked, you're going to bill the patient for the balance. Okay. The current balance is the balance of that particular charge line with that particular insurance that you're looking at. So it's telling you that the charge line was $50 and it's with the primary insurance. Now, once the primary insurance pays, goes to the secondary, that current charge amount will be less, and then it'll say secondary. This delete button deletes the charge off the line. So I don't recommend using this delete button because it also deletes it off the claim. So you wouldn't be able to go back to the claim to see that charge line even though you deleted it from here. So don't use that unless you absolutely need to. Okay, so now that the money is allocated and it's been put in across the area here, you have a arrow, and you can click on that arrow to fold back up this charge line. Then you want to come over here to the right side and hit the post button. Once you hit the post button, you'll turn from post to edit, and you will be able to edit that. You'll see that that claim has already been worked. And if you needed to make another change, you'll click the edit button and it will let you make the change. Once you hit post, now you can go to the lower right corner and you can hit ready to post, and then in the center, hit save. Now this remit has been posted. Once the remit is posted, if you have a secondary payer, it automatically will drop a secondary claim. Okay, you'll find these secondary claims. If they can go electronically, it's going to be under send professional and secondary claims, or it could be under send professional EOB if it has to go paper. Now you do have the other button here that says ABS. This button here is right here in the system up here. If you ever see this on a particular claim that says ABS, that's auto billed secondary. So that means that like Medicare or Blue Cross or TRICARE, any one of those that automatically sends your claim to the secondary payer, that means they've already done that. And in that situation, it's not going to drop a secondary claim, but it's going to take the secondary claim in the system and mark it as billed. So that way, when you get the payment in for the secondary, it is ready to post. Okay. Now let's talk a little bit about recoups. Sometimes the insurance company is wanting to take money back, and then you need that money to be on that claim so that you can post the entire claim. In that situation, you're going, if it's electronically, it will automatically happen. You don't have to worry about putting it in there and taking it back. If it's a paper claim, you do have to look that up. So you're going to go to the recoup button and you're going to hit the black binoculars and you're going to find a claim that they're recouping, okay, and the dollar amount. Now, once you found that claim and the dollar amount, you'll get a pop-up screen that looks like this, where you can say, if they had multiple charge lines, which charge line are they taking that money back from? Also, if you put money in the excess, like a duplicate payment or something like that, they may not be taking back what they paid. They might be taking back the excess. So that would be over in this box. And you would just see how much they're taking back and you would put it in this box here, say okay, and then that goes back onto your check. Okay, it adds the total back into the total amount so that you can post the entire check. So when you have a recoup on your check, whether it came in paper or electronic, they're going to show in red. Okay, so you have a black means that this is money that they gave you that you're posting. Red is money that they're taking back. Medicare is famous for this. They will take back money and then repay you again the new amount. So it will always show in red. Okay, the amount that has been recouped, and then it gets added back to your check amount down here so that you can post the entire check. Okay. Now, the icon tray that I flipped over is a huge benefit to you guys. You can go to your icons based on whichever line that you have selected. So if you're back here on a particular patient, maybe you chose James White, highlight that line, and then all of these icons will belong to James White. So this would be the patient registration screen if you needed to make a change there. This is the insurance umbrella. You can go back to the insurance umbrella and verify everything is correct. You can create a patient alert right from here to let people know something about the patient. You can go into the copay screen and see if they made a copayment and how much did they pay. This claim screen right here will take you back to the original claim. So if whatever remit is on, claim is on that remit, if you've highlighted that line, it takes you back to that particular claim. The tracking status lets you know where you're at if you have a clearinghouse, or if you build paper, it'll even say you build paper. So it says you sent out an electronic file, it hit the clearinghouse on this day, it hit the insurance company on this day the insurance company sent their money. So it gives you a track of what's going on with your claim. The ledger breaks out every line item on that charge, and it tells you how much you billed, how much was written off or adjusted off, how much went to the secondary, how much they wrote off, if there's a patient balance, how much that is. So a ledger is a good thing to look at to see where your money is or where it's falling. And then you have the print EOB, I'm sorry, UBO4. That's only if you're doing facility claims, but you can print out your UBO4 from here. And then the other items are printing out an EOB. If you have an electronic version and you print your EOB from here, it's only going to print it with that one patient on it. So you don't have to worry about blacking out the lines. If you find out after you post the money that patient has a balance and you want to send a statement right then, you can always print your statement right from here. You can send claim letters. So maybe you want to send a letter to the insurance company or to the patient or somebody about this claim. You can actually send out appeals and denial letters right from here, right from the same remittance screen. You can assign a hand or assign somebody to work this particular claim or denial. Maybe it was a denial and you wanted to go to the denial screen, but you wanted to go ahead and assign somebody to work it. You can go ahead and assign that now so that when it gets to the denial screen, somebody's already assigned to that particular claim. Claim notes stay with that each individual claim, so it'll stay in the patient's account with the claim beside the claim that it goes to. Billing notes allow you to put in notes for the front office, so this would turn red if it was a note in this particular field. The dollar sign turns red, and the front office can actually view those notes. You have the refresh screen that just refreshes the totals on the screen. You can get to the patient account if you needed to verify something from the patient account. You can do that right from the remit screen. Now, this is a great feature, this add insurance. Sometimes you'll get a remit and it'll say they billed the secondary insurance, Cigna, and then you didn't know they had Cigna. Well, now you do because it's on the remit. So now you can go ahead and add it. If you add it through this button here, instead of the actual insurance claim screen, it actually either bills the secondary insurance right then, or it will put it into a secondary like bill status if it's already been billed or ABS. Right here, you could write off or charge the next responsibility if you needed to do that. You could do that from here. And you could also send an appeal letter. Now, some people have a second bill review. If they're in the state of California, they use the second bill review. You can actually have that in here, and it will auto-populate all the details based on your claim that you're filling out, and you can send your appeal letter right from this remittance screen. So if you got a denial, you want to get that appeal letter out right away, you can do that from the remittance screen. And then you have your, if you have a large remit, you have your previous and next page, but you also can do a lookup by pushing the lookup button. You can look it up by claim number or patient name or something like that if you want to get to a specific claim. So all of these things are designed to help you work more efficiently. If you have the electronic remittances, a lot of this is automatically going to be done for you. So you don't have to go to all that trouble. You reduce your errors, you reduce your time spent posting. It's really a great benefit. So I hope you guys learned something from this presentation, and I thank you for coming.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Julia, for walking everybody through this process and through the various screens, I think the icon tray and all the information that you provided on those icons were very helpful. I'm hoping that it is beneficial for all. So let's begin. We do have a few questions, but I would request all of you, if you have any questions, please type it in the question box and send it over to us. We have Julia here with us, so she would definitely answer all your queries. So Julia, to begin with, the first question is on recoup. How do you recoup money when the original payment is not in prognosis?
Okay, that's when you would go back to the top of the remit and you would hit the non-prognosis recoup and put that recoup amount in that field. It adds it back to your check. You would still process it in your old system, but at least it adds it back to your check so that you can post your check.
All right, okay, thanks. The next question I think is a very preliminary question, which is like, what is the difference, or can you explain the difference between EOB and ERA?
So EOB is a paper remit that you get in the mail, comes to your office, and you're putting it in. An ERA is an electronic remittance advice. it's going to come over electronically. So when you see the prefixes on your EOB ERA screen, the ones that say EOB are paper remits, and the ERAs are electronic remits.
Okay. And this is a very important question. The question is, so if we used you all as our electronic remits, does that mean a clearinghouse?
I'm sorry, it broke up.
So it's like, if we use you all as our electronic remits, does that mean we don't need a clearinghouse?
No, you still need a clearinghouse because electronic remits come in through the clearinghouse. So you pick your clearinghouse and then have your electronic remittances turned on.
All right. The next question again on you do a partial recoup?
Yes. So when we go into that recoup screen that I showed you, let me go back a couple of slides and I'll try to show you. You can do a partial recoup. So let's see. Okay, recoups. On this screen here, back one. Up here, it's letting you put in the amount that they recouped. So maybe this was $800 and they recouped it. You just put in the 400 in this field here.
Okay. And Julia, just stay on those slides because the next question is again on recoup. The question is, how do you post a payment with a recoup and a negative balance?
With a negative balance.
Yeah.
It does not let you put in the negative balance because the negative balance is, so you would have to, a recoup is a negative. So if you pull in your recoup, it's going to put it into your system so that you can post that. I don't know that it actually lets you post an actual negative balance, but a recoup is a negative balance. So you're pulling that money back, which adds it to your remit. So then you can post the entire remit. Does that make sense? Hopefully.
Yeah, and I have the details. Like, if we want, we can get back to the person who asked. So, yeah, let us
Yeah,
know
we can
if
do
this
that.
helps you. Yeah, yeah. So the next question, Julia, is: does it matter if we use EOB or unallocated?
No, that's your preference. That is your preference. Some people like to work the unallocated. That way they're only getting the remittances that they need, and they can go ahead and post them really quickly because as you post them, they drop off of there, and you can see how many you have left. It does not matter. You can go to either way.
Okay, all right. So moving on, the next question: is there a way to post the claims automatically by the system instead of having to post each claim in a remit?
No, so it makes you at least look at each charge line. You can't just have it auto post the whole remit. You do have to go in and just check post down the line, and then hit post at the end. The reason why they do that is because they want you to actually verify that it's correct.
Okay, all right. The next question: can you send us more information on using electronic remits, pricing examples? What is the process the office would have to do an
Um,
electronic remit?
there is no pricing as far as prognosis is concerned. All that pricing and fees and stuff like that come through your clearinghouse. So you would have to check with your clearinghouse if there's any additional pricing for electronic remits. As far as prognosis is concerned, we don't charge.
All right. Moving on, why would we enter a full check amount if part of the check does not belong to prognosis?
Because when you are verifying with an insurance company and the check is $100, if you look up there and you've only put $50 in there, they won't be able to match that up. So you always put the full check amount, and then the part that does not belong to prognosis, you want to put into the non-prognosis payment section.
All right, Julia. And then we have one last question, which kind of relates to partial recoup. The question is, but what if they are recouping on more than one EOB?
Okay, so you would have to, no, that's fine, because what will happen is when you go into the recoup button up here, okay, so maybe they are paying on one EOB, but then they're recouping from multiple different ones. That is okay, because you're just going to go up here to the black binoculars and you're going to select all the patients that they're recouping from, okay? And then you're going to get this, you're going to be able to put how much they recoup from each patient. That money gets added back to your check, and then you'll be able to post that check. So that is okay if they're recouping from multiple different payments previously.
All right. The next question is, Julia, the order of posting brings up a lot of issues. Is there a way similar to a hyperlink to take us to some other payment not?
Yeah, so
Okay.
when you're in a patient account, a remit here, let me go back. So when you're in like a remit like this, and you see your payments down here, if you needed to go back and see another remittance or whatever, if they paid previously, you can click on your patient account here. And then from the patient account screen, under the status button, there'll be like a B for build. You can click on the B and it will have a hyperlink to any other remittances that have been paid. There's also remittance section down on the bottom of the patient account, but you do have to go over here to this to see those other payments.
Okay. That was the last question that we received. So if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us. You can reach out to us via support. And Julia, if you can have the last page, which has the email details. Yeah, that would be nice. So yeah, thank you so much, Julia, for walking us through this session and for answering all the questions. Thank you to all our attendees for being here with us today. And as mentioned, we will share the recording. So if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us at support@matrixinc.com. Thank you once again, and we'll see you in happy holidays. Bye for now.